everyone, and welcome back to the Clueless Than Internet episode 2. I'm your host, Alex. I'm joined once again by my co-host, Howard, for another episode.
Hello.
There he is, by the way.
Me.
I've put him in a box in the corner. He's fine. We'll ignore him for the rest of the episode. It's just me. Hello. It's just
I'm in a box.
This is essentially just the episode where we don't really have too much of a script as compared to our old one. It is essentially...
Forgot to do that thing.
All right.
Howard forgot to do the thing.
Cut. This is essentially the episode series where I have not put any effort into the main show, so we're talking about random shit that is happening. It used to be the Point episodes, but now it's the Clueless Than Internet episodes. How are you doing, Howard? How's your time been since we last recorded?
Well, the war started.
The war, yes. We can jump into the elephant in the room with that another war has started.
Well, when it comes to like delineating like big moments in history over the last few years, like it's basically been a big flat line.
We've really
For
just
the last few years, and then all
tried
of a
to
sudden
cram as much in as we can lately.
Well, it's like compared to everything else, like, I know all the COVID and stuff's been terrible, but like that was kind of like a flat line. I've just kind of like existed for the last 2 years, and then the war with Ukraine happened, started, and I was like, oh, right, yeah. And like it's like I've come out of the fog of like all that COVID shit, all like the lockdown stuff. And I'm just like, oh fuck, yeah, real problems. Oh no, guns.
Oh no, yeah, because that sort of I suppose it didn't really happen out of nowhere. I suppose if you've been following it. Which I have not, so I'm not going to be any authority on this in the slightest. It happened in February, I think it started.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was a conflict in, if you have been keeping up with it, which I hadn't, to be honest. I've only been keeping up with it since it started, but there was a conflict in 2014, this is a repeat of, essentially. There was a Ukraine-Russian conflict then. And then several years before that, they annexed Crimea, and then there was when Russia shot down a fucking... civilian passenger jet, and
as you do.
Just over the last few years, like over the last decade, Russia's just been slowly pushing its luck with the world.
Yeah,
and it's gone one step too far, where they've pushed it too far now.
I think very understated on that one. And from what I did see when I was keeping up, like when it first started, when it was. Or just all, I suppose it still is all over the news, but when it was major, like every single channel everywhere was covering every aspect of it. I think most of the Russian troops that were moving in either didn't know that this was an invasion, or thought that they were going to get heroes welcome, because there were a few that broke it. I think they ran out of fuel or they ran out of food when they got into Ukraine, and they expected a hero's welcome when they came into the country.
Well, there's a guy I've been following on Twitter. I can probably get one of his tweets to just appear just by quickly scrolling.
Somebody who's been keeping up with.
He's like
going on.
He was like an ex-foreign correspondent for Ukraine with another country, but he's been like heavily reporting on the war. He like some of the footage like you don't want to look at, because he's not afraid of like showing what the war can do. For some reason, he's not popping up on my timeline at the moment. He may have been shadow banned again. Oh no, there he is, Alexander Sherber, and his Twitter is basically just at the moment that's a nice example of the policeman and his dog, but essentially he's been kind of showing the like everywhere where they've made a success, everywhere where Russia's done a horror thing, and it's just all photos of like Russian tanks and vehicles absolutely destroyed. Like
they look all broken down. Yeah,
Ukraine has this is the thing. So like Russia have come in with like blunt force. Russia aren't like. They are technologically advanced, but when it comes to war, because they've got the numbers, they don't bother to implement that. They just come in with brute force and just send in waves of troops. Like a lot of them, been lied to, have no idea. Like some of them think it's training exercise, some of them think they're there to liberate the Ukrainians from the Nazi government, which is bullshit. Most of the people in the current government are Jewish and had family members killed in the Holocaust.
The tyrannical government of Ukraine.
Yeah, there's a lot of people arguing for Russia's side, because there's been pictures recently of like you'll see like the Ukrainian flag with the Nazi symbol on it and stuff, and it's It's because there is a sect, like, and the Ukrainians aren't hiding it. There is a sect of Ukrainian people who are Nazified, like there are in America. You got neo-Nazis
Fucking
there.
everywhere. There's at least someone.
That doesn't mean the government recognises them or that that's the majority view and opinion in the country, because it's not. So people have been using that as like kind of Russian propaganda, because that's basically the excuse Putin has made. Like one of his early addresses is like, we're there to deal with the Nazi problem in Ukraine. That's what he's telling his people. Bullshit.
Do you reckon that's misinformation going to him, or do you reckon that's just him trying to...
No, he's latched onto this because it's in Ukraine. It is quite like, this group is a problem. Like they're a kind of a militia group. Like they consider themselves like independent of like Ukraine and stuff, I think. And they are white supremacists, white nationalists. But at the same time, like right now, Zelensky's got more important things on his hands. Like it's still a small population, a controlled population of people for now. Like it could get worse, and unfortunately wartime is the place where it could get worse. But at the same time, he's too busy at the moment defending like all the major fucking
his civilians
and the civilians.
Yeah,
he's too busy with the war at the moment to deal with some white nationalists, and it may be something he'll take a hard stance on after the war, because it gave Putin some form of legitimacy, especially with like some weird conservatives down in America and stuff. Because of the whole Trump and Putin thing, that he was like cozying up to him. So there's a sect of like American conservatives who are ready to bum Putin.
Oh God! As the song goes, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. See you again.
But yeah, Ukraine's just been smart, so they haven't got the majority power. So they've been clever with how they've done things. They've got the civilian population into action, so there are call lines, and basically if you spot, like, because all the Russian tanks you'll see have got like Z's on them, all the helicopters, all the soldiers, all the tanks, everything's got a Z on.
I saw something about that. What is that? What is that about?
That's to stop friendly fire, basically, so you don't shoot. Other Russians don't shoot other Russians, essentially.
Oh, okay.
But it's also a big giveaway.
It's a way to out yourself, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So Zelensky mobilized the civilians and basically set up a bunch of call lines where basically if you spot a convoy, or if you spot even just a lone tank like making its way around somewhere, you can call in the military and they will move in on that position immediately.
Shit.
The aim is to just eradicate them before they can even get to like the major cities and stuff. And some major cities obviously have partially fallen and stuff, but the Ukrainians have just gone about. The reason you see so many videos, especially on like this guy's Twitter, of just destroyed convoys, is because the Ukrainians just like, okay, well then we'll set up and wait in hiding and just fucking take them out with anti-tank fucking rockets and our own fucking APCs and stuff. We'll just take them all out from like a hidden vantage, and it works every single fucking time. It's like the Russian military aren't there with some like big fancy plan. They're just going in dumb. It's just numbers. Just go in with numbers and just take as much as you can, fire as much as you can on the civilian populations and stuff.
Until they bring in that giant robot from Fallout New Vegas. That's when shit hits the fan. That's when it's gonna get real.
The problem is,
not that it isn't real already.
The problem is we don't know if this is like Putin's way of just like weakening Ukraine, is to just keep sending in waves of incompetent people who have no idea what they're there for, or just like
unfortunately just throw in civilians at civilians.
Yeah, cannon fodder to weaken, and then eventually they'll move in with some master plan. But I honestly don't think they will. I think this is a desperate. This is entirely subjective. This is just how I think. Looking at the situation, it kind of feels like a less desperate kind of ploy from Putin. Like, he's been doing all these things to try and, like, the idea of what Putin wants to do is return Russia to pre-Soviet era. So pre-Soviet era included areas like Belarus and Poland and Ukraine. They were all part of the Russian Federation, Russian Empire.
USSR, was it?
No, this is before the USSR. So the USSR was the Soviet Union of Russia.
Okay.
Before the Soviet Union of Russia, there was the Russian Empire, and they had even more than the Soviet Union, which is why, like, Putin's going all in. He wants like everything. He wants Poland back. He wants Ukraine back. He wants Belarus. He wants that whole fucking top region of Europe back. And this is like, I think he's possibly dying. I think he might be on the way out. I think he might have some kind of weird diagnosis where he's like, okay, I've now got to cement my name, because Putin for so long has been like the sole leader of Russia.
for years, hasn't he? He's been
on
there
purpose. Like he's
Oh yeah, he's not there on accident.
He's made sure he's there. And now at some point he is going to have to hand it over to a protege. He doesn't want a protege to overshadow him, outshine him. So he's like, I've got to do something that will be like all glory to fucking Russia and Putin and stuff. So I think I think he hasn't got. I don't think he's got the strategy down, because there's so many as well on that guy's Twitter. He's showing like Russian like generals and colonels and stuff that are just he's just like, this guy won't be coming home. This guy, we've killed him, he's dead.
Damn.
And like share a photo of him with like Putin is like, this guy's general.
Some like top generals and stuff.
Yeah, like he's dead. He's not coming home. We didn't even take him prisoner. He's dead.
Fuck. That's war for that's war for you. It's fucking brutal. Yeah.
Yeah, because now like the generals and colonels and stuff are starting to go into the war. Like before this, it was all just like you say, cannon fodder. Now they're starting to come into the war. I assume like at backlines using like firing. Like, because they've been just like firing like missiles from like a distance, but I've also seen them like they'll be firing them from ships and stuff. But I've also seen Ukrainians destroying a fucking Russian warship with just like a simple missile system on the edge of it.
Well, I've seen one where they were getting bottles and bottles and bottles of like spirits and stuff to make Molotovs just to throw at convoys and stuff.
Yeah, there was. I think the government actually handed out like instructions on how to properly make Molotovs and how to properly handle them and stuff. And
yeah.
Because it's like, if you want to defend yourself, then we're not going to stop you. Basically.
Yeah. I think they were offering.
He handed out weapons at the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was like 10,000 weapons or something. At least to Kiev.
And he was encouraging people to come over to fight, because there were dozens of people from all over the
He's encouraged
world.
mercenaries. I think the biggest import of mercenaries came from Canada recently. Weirdly enough, people are ready to fight.
One that I would not have expected.
Yeah, it's not official military. Obviously, it's mercenary, so it's possibly ex-military, but it's all people who are like, I want to fight for Ukraine. I'll do it for money or glory or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For less altruistic.
Well, the thing is, it might not be less altruistic. I don't know what their motives are. They might not be getting paid. They might be going there to just to volunteer. They might be so fucking
fighting for freedom
by what they've seen, and it's like, no.
Yeah,
I can kind of imagine that from Canadians.
I can imagine quite a lot of people have just gone back, or like, because there's a lot of Ukrainian professional athletes and stuff going back to fight. There was a tennis player that I saw, Klitschko, who's the mayor of Ukraine.
You see him and his brother just walking around town like, fuck this shit. Fuck.
They're so badass.
He goes, bullshit.
Yeah.
Fuck. Sorry, bullshit.
And you'll be happy to know that people have started to do. You remember those videos of wide Putin walking down the thing?
Yeah.
People have done wide Zelensky now, and he's just walking down in his suit and stuff. It looks amazing.
Well, the weird thing about Zelensky is he was an actor before he was the president.
Oh, that makes sense. He does give an actor kind of aura.
Well, people have taken, like, there was a graffiti recently where people had taken an image from one of his films where he's got, like, he's standing in Parliament with two. He's just like shit, because he played in, I think it was a TV series. It was a parody TV series where he becomes president.
What a world! What a world we live in. That's great.
But he's also, like, he's been in movies and stuff.
What would you compare him to, sort of, in...
A bit like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Not like, he's not like a huge action hero, but he was a beloved, like, star. It's not the same as Trump. I think it's more like Schwarzenegger when he ran for California and won. He was the governor of California for...
He took it a step up and became the president of the whole country. What a legend. But I think...
I'm trying to get his name. Carry on.
I can't remember. Oh, is something Zelensky? Or
Volodymyr.
Is it Vladimir Zelensky?
I'm not sure if it's Vladimir or Volodymyr. It's like Vladimir Zelensky.
Oh, right.
Very, it's weird.
That must be very confusing if they ever get on a phone call together.
Yeah.
Vladimir, which one? No, Vladimir. Oh.
But I think that's part of the reason why he's so popular, but also able to, in such a dire time, able to kind of like rally this kind of persona for Ukraine.
Because he can put on an act. Yeah. Because he's probably, like, all credit to the guy, he's probably shitting a brick.
Oh, and I wouldn't fucking blame him. So
no. Oh, God, no. But I think in... When we have times like these, when we have these, I suppose one superpower trying to beat down another country, we should also remember that this is not the only war that is going on. To put a damper on it, not to be that guy.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of people trying to remind people that yes, this is happening.
But this is not the only war. that is currently going on. This is, unfortunately, this is just the only war that's going on traditional Western soil.
It's not just that. It's also that this is the first war. As much as I hate to be like, it's a horrible thing to say, but this affects more people. Like, Russia has been this issue for a long time with the whole world. Like, none of these other countries where these things are happening, I hate to say it, do we have to worry about all-out annihilation from nuclear warfare, which with Putin, who has been mentioning it more and more throughout the weeks. Putin's a real risk to the world. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, these other wars aren't at the moment. Yeah. They are a risk to the people there, and it's horrible, but at the same time, the reason the world has turned its eye is not because it's like, oh, white people. No, that's a very myopic and idiotic view of this. It's like, no, Putin could destroy the world.
He could if he wanted to, yeah.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but the needs of the many, it's something awful. The worst thing in this one area could happen. But at the same time, this could just kill us all in an instant. Like, one wrong move and we could all be fucking dead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to pay more attention to the thing where we might all be dead.
Yeah.
That affects me directly. Not that the other ones don't affect me, but...
But this is why it's getting a lot more news coverage.
Yeah. And Putin and the people are like, it's just Ukraine. It's like, no. If you think it's just Ukraine, you don't know. You're not as worried about Putin as you should be.
There's been sanctions from every country.
Well, he's already mentioned who he's going after. Like, he wants the original Russian Empire back, which means immediately you can assume he's going straight for Poland, he's going straight for Belarus, he's going straight for all of those neighbouring countries, which means it's not just Ukraine, it's going to be all these countries, and he's going to keep expanding power if he can and where he can.
And if he
doesn't get his way, the next thing we need to worry about is if he's going to throw a hissy fit and press the buttons.
If you are right with this whole wanting to make an impression before he goes, what better way to do it?
The last thing you do before you die.
Yeah, what better way to do it? I suppose. Yeah, when you do put it like that, yeah, I suppose it could affect.
Like, Putin's unhinged.
Pretty much the whole world.
Yeah, Putin's unhinged. Like, when people are like equating him to Hitler, normally I'd be like, don't be so melodramatic. No, he's Hitler. He's Hitler again.
Yeah.
He's doing exactly what Hitler did. He's marched in on another country, and he's going to take it if he can. He's not going to stop.
Which he's very struggling to do, thankfully.
Unfortunately, like, all things are, unless like Ukraine have like a very like solid and like, if you don't want to fight this war, we'll fight it. We don't want World War III. We're going to stop World War III if we can. It's like, at some point, either Ukraine's going to have to back down or Russia's going to have to back down. And if the world wants to stop Putin, they're going to have to side with Ukraine, and we're going to have to actually form a world coalition and go to war. We're going to have, at the end of the day, if we actually like hold like freedom and stuff as important, then eventually it'll be us. If you're not going to, like, eventually Germany would have come to us. Like, if they had kept succeeding, and Germany did keep succeeding, they would have come to us. Luckily, at the moment, the saving grace is that Putin clearly can't fucking form a battle plan. Like, he clearly can't do shit at the moment.
We just got to hope that he doesn't form a nuclear plan.
Yeah, either he can't do shit, or it's a front, and this is just his way of, like I say, slowly weakening the country. Which would be, at least he's not going for direct nuclear war. Then it's like, weaken the infrastructure and then move in and take over. At least I know that he's not going to use nukes straight away because he wants that territory back. There's no point taking back territory you fucking nuked.
Yeah, do you want to take back a crater?
Yeah, so nuclear war, at least with those people, is not a worry at the moment. Like, he wants those places back for Russia. He's not going to nuke them. The thing we need to worry about is if we step in, is he just going to start nuking other countries? And
which we already have, I suppose. Financially, there's been a lot of sanctions on a lot of Russian oligarchs, and pardon me, one of the biggest ones was the owner of Chelsea Football Club, who the whole club was sanctioned. I'm pretty sure they aren't allowed to sell pretty much anything at the moment. They're not like, he's not allowed to sell the club. He's not allowed to sell tickets or anything like that. That is an amazing picture of Zelensky. Just so he's in Parliament with two like machine guns, shit,
just firing oozes.
Hopefully he doesn't get to that point. Hopefully he does not get to that point where he goes into his own parliament with some Uzis.
But yeah, I never thought I'd do it. But I'm following several. I'm following the Ukrainian president. I'm following several of his of his party and stuff. Like, I can't understand half of it. Luckily, Twitter has a translate button. You can just translate tweets immediately. But yeah, it's been interesting following the war from their eyes. I suppose you could say I'm full of like Ukrainian propaganda or whatever, but from what I've seen and from what the world has done in the last few weeks, I can probably safely say I'm looking at the right media.
We've got to stay hopeful for the future. I'm hoping this ages like fine milk at some point, and it.
Yeah, I hope this episode, like all the things I've just said, are completely asinine and make no sense in 2 years. I hope everyone's forgotten.
But yeah.
Well, I don't never forget, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. But if you are listening to this from any sort of war zone out there, we hope you're safe.
Yes.
We hope you're staying well, and
I hope I haven't misrepresented anything.
Which we usually do in most episodes.
So I'm going to immediately apologise for that.
But yeah, we hope everyone's staying as safe as they possibly can be. Because, as they say, war, what is it good for?
Never changes.
Absolutely nothing. Say it again. It never changes. War.
War never changes.
No, it does not. But do you know what does change, Howard? From Software games, which you've been playing
all too much.
A little indie game that people may not have heard of, called the Elden
Rings.
Elden Blood Reborn Rings.
It's brilliant. It's the first game in a little while where I'm like, all of those like 10 out of 10s I agree it deserves. Well, I suppose some of them could be in a bit. I think the problem with a 10 out of 10 is it's a bad score because actually you couldn't have improved on this. I don't think any game is a 10 out of 10. I don't think any game's a 0 out of 10 because then it's like there was no game to play.
Yeah.
You've got to at
there
least
was a main menu.
If I could turn it on and play it, if briefly, it's a 1. It gets a 1. if I couldn't even load the thing, it's a 0. That's when it gets a 0. I couldn't even review this, it's a 0. And it's the same with 9 and 10. If you're given something to 10, there's nothing that can be done to improve it, and you can always improve a game. And there are things you can improve on with Elden Ring. There's already a patch come out where they've leveled things and stabilized things and like leveled weapons because they were like, this is too OP for you just going around whacking fucking people.
Oh no, not my one-hit death sword.
Oh yeah, there were a lot of people upset about the patch as well. I don't care, it's their game, they can do what they want with it, and quite frankly, I haven't even got half the weapons that they had to scale because they're like god tier level weapons. Yeah.
Well, sometimes when you have like testing in games, you have only like a certain amount of people testing. Once you get millions of players in and you start to notice a trend, only then can you start to balance the game.
Yeah, they've looked at the analytics, they've looked at what works and gone, we need to nerf some of these things a little bit. They've boosted some things, and people were upset because they've boosted some of the magic in the game. Because people are like, magic's just easy mode, and it's like, if you've actually played the game, like, sometimes casting magic can be a right pain. You're just constantly leaving yourself open. It's not easy mode. Like, most of the time, if you're going to cast a spell, you'll get attacked. You've got to assume you're going to take a hit because you can't move properly. You can move, but if you move, you'll be looking away and cast the spell in the wrong fucking direction. Like, you have to basically stand there and go,
just run away.
Yeah, and then immediately dive once you've cast the spell. Yeah, so it's like, magic is a little OP, but that's because it's just a different class and it's just a different way for people to play. Like, personally, I prefer a mix. I've got a perfect mix of like power and magic.
Yes.
And I'm really enjoying that, going around just like smacking things with my sword, like casting a spell to half their health and then getting my sword and just like fucking finishing them off. It's a really fun game. It did deserve its 10 out of 10s, even though I kind of disagree with the 10 out of 10 score.
You disagree with the fundamentals.
9.999 out of 10. Of course it can be improved. You can improve anything, but the scale and the scope of the game is the biggest FromSoft game they've ever done. It's one of the bigger games I've played. And I've got to say, I haven't enjoyed myself on a game like this, like where I've actually sat and just like delved into it since Cyberpunk.
And that's quite high praise because you were very deep into the Cyberpunk.
I was deep into that. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I haven't played it since it's been improved. I don't know. I'll probably play it again at some point, but currently Elden Ring, like, when I consider how much trouble Cyberpunk did have, like, as much as I enjoyed it, it did have its issues running and stuff, and like you would have like issues with like pedestrians and some like weird graphical fuzz and stuff. When you put on a game like Elden Ring and you go, how is this running on my PS4? It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful game with a lot of moving. It sounds really stupid, but with a lot of moving parts as well.
Yeah,
that's the thing that gets you more frame issues, is when you've got more moving parts rather than just a beautiful scene, because you can create an amazing looking scene, but it has maybe 3 things going on screen, whereas this has countless.
Well, I don't have frame issues until I'm playing co-op. Like if I'm playing solo, game's fine. The moment I go into co-op, then I'm going to get some frame issues, but like I've mentioned to you before, it localizes frame issues to the things that are using up the most, like CPU or whatever. So like I said, like if me and Joel are fighting this giant knight on his horse, and he's got a big black cloak over it, the cloak's all flowing, he's got the legs are moving, the guy's moving, he's got his axe, everything's like doing all these different movements. It basically goes, this thing's hogging all the juice, and it just goes and just lowers the frame rate on that. So yeah, sometimes the knight on the horse looks a bit janky, but it's better than like them only releasing on PS5, because I wouldn't have been able to play it for a long time if they hadn't released it on PS4. So glad it came out on PS4, and it runs so well. It's so nice. Other than like a few janky moments in co-op, which.
But they keep it so you're able to fight it still.
Yeah, like my frame rate doesn't go down, and I can still roll around. But like the frame rate of the horse, and the horse doesn't like jump. Like the horse will it'll all like the animations will all play and move. It'll just be at a lower frame rate, so like it'll move a bit stutterily, like a weird like glitch in the Matrix kind of thing. It's weird, but at the same time, it doesn't disturb it too much. It breaks your immersion a little bit because you immediately notice it, but at the same time, it's like your brain can kind of fill in the gaps because you're like, no, I know what he's doing. I can see him like winding up to do this move and stuff. Yeah, it's just sometimes a little bit janky.
Plus, it's a video game, so you're not expecting perfect fluidity. It's not a movie.
Yeah, and it's like if I ever really want to enjoy this in its full glory, I can come back and solo it. Like, I'm sacrificing a little bit for the enjoyment of playing it with a friend and messing around and having a good laugh and kind of thing. Like it's so much easier to like after being killed by a boss like 10 times to just laugh it off when you're playing with a friend. When you're playing on your own, after like 20 times, you're like, I'm done for the day. I'm going to go do something else.
Game. Yeah, I hate this game. Comes back the next day. I love this game.
The problem with this game is I found myself thinking about it like when I'm not playing it. Like I'll be at work and it'll like pop into my head like, oh, you could have tried this. I'm going to try that tonight. And then you carry on, do your work for another hour. It's like, oh, and then you don't forget you got to go and do this. Oh yeah, I saw that thing the other night.
You start accidentally writing Elden Ring and like your copy and stuff. It's like, no, that's fuck.
Yeah, it's not like overtaking my brain, but every now and again it'll pop in like, oh yeah, I've got to go and get that thing. I can't forget to go and get that thing, and I'll do this, and then I got to power up my weapon.
Because the sheer scale of this game as well is immense. Yeah. The sheer like size of it.
I think John told me yesterday. I think it's like 130 bosses or something.
Fuck, that's ridiculous. And you don't even have to get to all of them.
Like, I think the main game's like 7 bosses or something.
Yeah.
But like if you just there's world bosses and dungeon bosses, and if you want, you can just go and fight them all.
Yeah. Which I assume a lot of people already have.
Yeah.
The speed runs, I think I saw a speed run is 58 minutes, I think, at the moment, which is insane already.
Did a poo speed run.
A poo speed run?
Yeah, there's an item you can collect. I can't remember what it's called. I need to look it up. But you can basically throw poo, and if you throw enough of it, you do poison damage. And he decided to do the main. Apparently, like he's done it. Like you can find it on YouTube. He did the main campaign by killing bosses purely with poison poo.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, that is amazing. Pause the podcast. We've got to watch.
We're gonna go watch this poison poo run.
We've got to go watch this poison poo run, and we'll be back now. We should actually do that. Bookmark that. We will actually watch the poo run.
Bookmark.
But just when I came over to play with you when you first got it,
yeah.
I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did because I'm not a massive FromSoft fan.
I expected it to be a slog the moment I turned it on. I was like, this is going to be hard.
Yes.
But I'll get to enjoy it.
But I was immediately immersed in the world, and just it feels a lot more accessible than some of the other ones, which, again, it doesn't really hold your hand.
Yeah.
It holds your hand more.
You get a little tutorial cave, which I think you missed because I'd already done it.
I did miss that bit, but just the fact that you've got grace in a lot more places and you have for instance, I've been playing through Bloodborne after playing with you for a little bit on Elden Ring, and I'm hooked on Bloodborne now. I'm about I'm crying in my sleep when I can't beat a boss. But I'm about 5 bosses deep in Bloodborne, and I had constantly rebuked the thought of playing a FromSoft game further than maybe the first boss. The first time I played Bloodborne, I watched a tutorial on how to beat the first boss. I beat the first boss and I said, that's me done. I'm happy with that.
There's a place I may have to spoil for you.
Okay.
Purely because it's entirely circumstantial that you find it. There's no like guiding light towards finding this mission, but it's a whole other place that you go to.
Is it the one where you get put in a sack?
No, I know which one you mean with that one. No, that's actually that you can get back to the major world from there.
I got back through that to a boss.
No, you go. It's like an invitation that you have to. I can't remember where you find it. It's like it's really asinine. Like if I wasn't playing with Joel, I'd have missed it.
Okay.
And it's a huge portion of the game.
Oh, and you can just completely miss it.
FromSoft are quite happy for you to completely miss that.
Oh wow. I like that they're quite happy for you to miss things completely, because then it makes you want to come back.
I think you're in, from what you've been telling me, I think you're in the right kind of area. I'll double check with Joel, but I think you're in the right kind of area.
Okay.
Yeah, and unless you have this like particular set of circumstances and then go and wait in a particular spot at a certain time, mission will never start.
I doubt I will ever do that. Because
I really wouldn't have if it wasn't for Joel going, oh, by the way, there's this thing.
But that Elden Ring, after we played, we only played through maybe an hour or two. We fought a few mini bosses, and then we fought the big boss, where essentially he used some really sick, massive power that no one else in the whole gaming community has found out. But he pushed me off the edge of a cliff. It had nothing to do with me continuously rolling to the side and falling off. I'd promise you. But yeah, I went back and I said, right, I'm gonna push myself to get past the first section of Bloodborne, and once you start to get how to attack enemies, once you start to figure out how you're invisible, is it invincible? Iframes. Once you start to figure out your iframes, and you start to figure out how enemies attack, and
when they take multiple swings and you dodge every single one,
it feels so good. It feels so fucking good, and it becomes almost an addiction. I'm gonna be honest, because there's times where it's about 4 o'clock or something. I'm getting ready to go home, and I'm thinking about which ways I'm gonna try to like progress the game, which enemies I'm gonna try. I'm like, oh, I do like half their health now to this enemy that I could barely scratch before, and I'm excited to get back and play the game. And that's what I'm looking forward to when I finally get Elden Ring, because as I say, I want to get through Bloodborne, complete Bloodborne. Because I've always heard it's a fantastic game, and now I know it is. I want to make sure that I can.
You might as well play it on PS4 now, while it's the only place you can play it.
Yeah,
because you might go to PS5 and they still haven't. Well, I suppose you can play the up-rendered version, but
I suppose I could play the PC version, but
they haven't done. They're not doing.
Oh, they're not doing a PC version.
This is the thing. Everyone's like, when are you doing Bloodborne PC? Because they've recently been doing a bunch of PS4.
Oh, you mean
PC
Bloodborne?
ports.
Sorry, I thought you meant Elden Ring.
Elden Ring's obviously already on PC. Yeah, but like with Bloodborne, now is the best time to play it on PS4, because there's a possibility they might not do a remaster of PS5. There's a possibility it might not come out on PC. There's a possibility it might now with Sony releasing so many like God of War and everything on PC. There may be, because Bloodborne wasn't exclusive to PS4. They may move it to PC.
It would be cool if they did. It would be cool if they did a Bloodborne 2.
That too.
That would be pretty cool. Although I don't know how it ends, so it may have just bookended itself completely. Yeah. So we'll have to. Well, everyone who's played through Bloodborne will know.
They might move on and do a more inspired thing. So like with Dark Souls, I don't imagine Dark Souls 3 was the last Dark Souls, but with Elden Ring, it's very much like a Dark Souls, very much inspired by Dark Souls. It plays like Dark Souls, but it's a new kind of world.
It's very whimsical in comparison, I think.
And they may take the inspiration from Bloodborne and create a new franchise, another new open world with like more modern weapons like guns and stuff. They might not do another Bloodborne. They may go, okay, let's take what we've learned from Elden Ring because of how fucking successful it was, and apply that to a world with slightly different. Because Bloodborne had its magic and stuff. If you know where to look in Bloodborne, you can get magic and use magic. It's different. It's called something different in the game, but
Arcana. Oh no, I don't think it's Arcane. But you can set shit on fire and like set shit electric and stuff. That it's pretty cool that way. But yeah, a new setting for it. I wonder where you could go with it, because guns, I don't know how they would implement that, but that's the challenge for them, I suppose, to implement it in a way that I would never have thought of to make a fantastic game.
If I was doing if personally, if I was them, I would do a big open world with like, if I was doing a big open world for a Bloodborne style game, I'd do an open world with some kind of traversal, maybe something cooler than a horse for like Bloodborne. So maybe
what about free running?
I would like free running, because one of the things I would suggest is having large town areas, but also like grappling hook, being able to grapple free run around.
Oh,
like,
Sekiro kind of style.
Yeah, so like take some of the things, because that's one of the things they haven't implemented from Sekiro is the grappling hook kind of. So maybe do that kind of thing, but also have like maybe move. I would maybe move Bloodborne slightly further into the future and have like motorized vehicles and stuff for like traversing like these big open wastelands between like these towns and stuff. I would, if I was them, I would risk going further away from where they've ever gone and go slightly further forward. I wouldn't like to see automatic guns in the game. I like how manual everything was, like single shots and stuff.
I don't think you could get away with a fully automatic weapon.
No, but at the same time, I kind of wouldn't mind like motorized things, like fucking biker gangs like chasing you down and fucking or like people on like giant like steampunk machines.
That would be pretty cool.
Like that would be fucking amazing.
And just certain areas have like huge bosses.
Just steampunk it all, have fucking steam run fucking motorbikes and stuff that run on coal and shit, and just like really like really go asinine, like
future-ish,
yet like alternate future,
cyberpunky, not cyberpunk.
Alternative future, so it's like we haven't got like this motorized, like everything's automatic. You haven't got like automatic guns, you haven't got like motorized vehicles, but you've got steam powered things, like
steam powered like chainsaw gun.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be pretty well.
Shit like that.
Gears of War, basically.
Steam powered fucking grappling hook is like.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Oh, that would be really cool. And I think just having something where, because if you're gonna have motorized vehicles to go certain places, it would be awesome if between certain places, Shadow of the Colossus, where some of those giant bosses are just there roaming in the land, and you have to hope that when you go into this town, they're not in the way, and you have to dodge and move around. And that would be pretty.
That would be fucking sick.
That would be awesome. Oh, Bloodborne 2, get on it. No, but I assume they'll
I'd call it something
push
like
the limits
New
again.
Or something.
Yeah. Oh, that would be really cool. But again, yeah, for anyone who's been umming and ahhing about, because constantly I'd play through these sorts of games a little bit. I'd get to the point where the skill cap starts to go, where the game goes, right, here's a proper enemy, and that's when I'd be, I'm done. I played through some of Neo, I played through some of Sekiro, I played through some Bloodborne first, and it never really clicked for me. But once you start to get iframes and you start to learn how to parry and stuff like that with certain things, it becomes less of it turns from a learning curve into an addictive improvement game where you just want to constantly improve and constantly just get better at killing things, essentially, and you feel like an anime character. You feel like the main character in an anime.
Like how like minute like the level ups are. Like you level up, like, why it's taken so many souls to do this thing just to go up like one more level. But when you realise like you've gone up 10, and then you realise how powerful you are just by going back just a little bit.
Yeah.
And just seeing how much powerful you are compared to the previous enemies, like, oh yeah, actually, yeah, I am fucking scaling up. Like, I could go back to the beginning area now and just wipe the fucking floor with everything.
Yes. You start to go, I really struggled against you?
Yeah.
What?
Like, what?
Like, I think in the first area of Bloodborne, because I got
that street, I know
stuck.
which one you mean, yeah.
I got stuck, like, I think after I beat the third boss, I got stuck for what to do next. And, I went back right to the start of the game just to see if I'd missed anything. Yeah. And I was walking through that street going, choo, choo, just slicing everyone down. The gun guy didn't even bother me. Took off like 5% of my health every time he hit me. I was walking through like that big guy who's under the stairs in the first street. Went down there, 2 hit him.
The big axe guy.
Yeah.
No,
Moved on.
yeah.
There was 2 of him later on, but I just like sliced axed him.
Oh yeah, some of the enemies where it's like, oh, this is a big guy, and then later on in the game there's like 4 of them in a room. You're like, what?
Yeah. Well, that guy with the sack. I was playing. I was playing that. That was when I finally figured out what I was gonna do. Because he took half my health every time he hit me. I was like, "Fuck! What the fuck?"
And then he gets you and sends you
to some prison.
Yeah,
some inn, I think it was, or some prison. But I was in the prison, and there was a room where 3 regular enemies, you know, the shield guys, the regular shield enemies from the start, they were in there, and I just slice, you know, normal. I did loads of damage, and then I moved on to the next room. And there was 2 of the sack guys in there, and I went, "Whoa, oh my god!" I just dived back and run away, and they killed me. And I was like, "Oh my god, that was terrifying." But now I go back through that room, and I just swing, easy peasy, swing.
There's a moment a bit like that me and Joel were playing in Elden Ring. He was like, he went down these stairs, and he was like, because I'd found a chest and I'd opened it, and it kind of like blew some smoke on me. I was like, nothing happened, and I walked out and walked away. And then Joel went there, and he was like, "Yeah, dude, no, it's a teleporter," and he just stood there in the smoke and waited for it to teleport him away. And then he got stuck in somewhere that's an incredibly high-level cave much later on in the game.
Shit.
And he couldn't get out. And I had to go, right, open the chest, fucking inhale the mist, and then put them on summon sign, and we fucking fought our way out of this, like, cave that's clearly, like, several levels ahead of us. Because there's these guys there's these big prawn dudes who just kind of...
Big prawn dudes.
Yeah, they just kind of go like this, and a million throwing knives come out, but then they're homing throwing knives.
Oh my god.
So like, you can be anywhere in the room and they can attack you. So like, Joel would like run out and they'd immediately kill him. So what we had to do was like, he would have to be the distraction, like constantly just fucking rolling about, and then I'd have to jump in, or do it vice versa.
I can't imagine doing that solo.
And it took us ages to get out of that fucking cave.
That's another thing about from software games is even if you aren't on a boss battle, certain battles just take you on a little bit of your own mission.
Yeah, the other day I needed to get through a room and it had some rats in it. I didn't realise the rats were there, and after like 2 surprise attacks, I was down to a quarter health, and I was like, "Fuck, quick, dodge, heal!"
Oh shit!
It's like, like if you're not paying the slightest amount of attention where you should be, you can just get completely fucked over by rats.
Oh. Well, that's Elden Ring. We will most likely 100% be talking about Elden Ring.
We'll put an Elden nail in that for now.
Yes, but we'll definitely be talking about that in the future. I watched a video yesterday of upcoming games for 2022/2023. This was uploaded in January, so it was a little bit out of date. They had Dying Light 2 trailer and stuff on there, but a few games that stood out to me on there were. I don't know if you ever played the first one, but do you know Hellblade?
I recognise the name.
This one was really interesting because the trailer was essentially these tribes people going into a cave, and there was a huge sort of like bald naked dude like trudging his way into the cave, and then they set him on fire, and he started to like towards them, sort of like I think I'm very hooked on giant enemies. At the moment.
Oh yeah, you're gonna love Elden Ring.
But it looked really interesting. Obviously, it was just a cinematic trailer, so the graphics were
a bit upped.
But I couldn't really tell because some of it looked like it cut to an in-game moment where she was running away, and then she'd turn, throw a spear, and stuff like that, and it looked really interesting.
Oh, the Devil May Cry HD collection's moved to PS4 now. If you like big bosses, like the thing that FromSoft games remind me so much of is Devil May Cry, because Devil May Cry, it's mostly minions, and then you get the great thing about FromSoft games is it's mostly bosses, but Devil May Cry did really good big bosses, but they were unfortunately dispersed throughout the game quite evenly. But the big bosses were so good. Like just in the first game, there's like this giant dragon thing that I always got fucking stuck on. I think I finally killed it one year. And also like the versatility of the weapons, like you can be a sword guy, or later on in the game you get like these fire fists and fire kicks and stuff, or you can like, I think there's other weapons as well and other devil triggers you can do. It's kind of a little like customizable game as well.
I think I saw that you can get motorbike arms in one of them.
Yeah, and he's got like an electric guitar he uses as a weapon in another.
It's crazy.
The Devil May Cry series, yeah. If you haven't got into it, I really want to play the new one, Devil May Cry 5, I think. It came out like last year or the year before.
I think so, yeah.
That one I really want to play.
I don't think it's that much now.
But the HD collection, I think, is on there for like 20 odd quid, and I think it's the first 4 games on
Oh,
PS4.
that's pretty good. I might have to look into that then.
My favourite one being like the first and second Devil May Cry are like some of the best games. They can be so hard in places. Because those you can actually choose a difficulty level. Like if you put it on like ultra mode, like
Fuck.
you're playing a FromSoft game at that point.
You're playing a FromSoft, but it's actually from hard.
Yeah.
I think just the intensity of it being just a single enemy, but it's either in multiple parts where you've got to take out the multiple limbs or something like that. Yeah, and I'm onto the. I was playing it with a friend, and I was playing it with a friend before the whole Rona hit, and we got to the final boss, but each of them was such an experience. Each boss, even though it was the same sort of mechanics to beat each one for the most part.
The grip and everything, making sure you don't fall off.
But it felt like a completely different game every time I was playing against a different boss.
Well, every time you get different places where you're like, okay, I can rest here, or I can do this here, or now I've got to get to this point to attack him. But there's also a secondary attack point if I'm like stuck down here and I've got to climb back up, I can get him in the back here or whatever.
And that fucking horse was made of iron.
It was learning the mechanics of a boss, and that's what makes big boss games fun. I still haven't played it, but I need to play Monster Hunter, which is another big boss
Monster
game.
Hunter's very fun. I assume I'd like that one a lot more now. I think I've got more patience, whereas before I didn't have patience to sit and grind and level up and stuff. But Monster Hunter's very similar to that. It's fun, but I've played it on an account that's already higher level. Yeah. And I was playing weaker enemies, but now that I've got the patience with the FromSoft games, I think I'll probably have enough patience to fight these bosses that take a few hours to beat in Monster Hunter. Like my friend who plays them constantly said that he played it for a few days pretty much straight, and he had to hold his PlayStation out of the window because it got so hot. And they look like interesting games. Next one that is, I'm glad that you mentioned Monster Hunter actually, is Arc Raiders, which seems like
I have heard of this one.
It looks very interesting because it's a thing where these giant robotic enemies constantly fall from the sky, and you've just got to attack them. There's probably a story there that you'll probably uncover, but
it just looks cool as a concept.
Yeah, but just from the trailer, things just keep falling from the sky. We gotta fight them.
It's Tuesday.
They'll fight us. Yeah, and the huge robotic. I'm loving just scale in video games at the minute. Now that you're able to
really
handle
pull it
that.
off.
Yeah. Now that the computing power of these consoles obviously will be a lot better with the PS5 come 5 years down the line.
Yeah.
But just the sheer scale of some of these games is ridiculous.
I would love to play like a Monster Hunter-esque, FromSoft-esque game in that Unreal 5 engine, with like being able to have those like huge, like intricate detailed textures on like a giant like scaled boss or something.
Yeah. Because you imagine having an enemy where the one arm is the size of a city or something. You've got to make it through one arm, but it's still all rendering the rest of it as well. Yeah. And you can like look out a window and see all 4 other city arms or something, and then like the huge citadel at the top. How insane would that would be? Oh my god. Video games are getting very, 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 very excited.
It certainly offers more in the way of experimentation with the more power you got.
Another one is the Wonder Woman game that we may have slightly mentioned either on a previous stream or a previous podcast.
I know you mentioned it to me. I can't remember what we were doing.
It's being made by it's being made in conjunction with Monolith, which were the ones who made Shadow of War, and they'll be using the Nemesis system in the Wonder Woman game, which I'm interested to see how they pull it off, because in Shadow of War, until I saw, or I think it wasn't Shadow of War, the first one. The first, whatever the first one was called, I didn't quite know how it would work. Yeah. And they showed it off, and it blew my mind. I love the Nemesis system. It is such a shame that they patented it. But it makes sense.
You could do something similar and just change enough stuff to make
call it the I don't like you as much system. But I'm not. Obviously, I'm not. I say obviously, you wouldn't know. I'm not a massive comic book fan, so I don't know. I assume Wonder Woman has an extensive library of enemies that they can
she's
pull
got her
from.
rogues like Batman and Superman and everyone. And the thing that I'm like is it going to be open world? I can't remember what city she protects when it's not the island she comes from.
Oh, I don't know.
I can't remember what city she's in. Is it the same city? It's not the same city as Superman.
Is she in Metropolis?
I can't remember. I honestly can't remember.
I don't know.
But it's like, is it going to be a city? Is it going to be like the world of DC? Are they going to have like multiple cities? Are you going to be able to go from Gotham to...
Oh, that would be quite interesting. You can go from Gotham to Metropolis.
Well, that would make a lot of sense for the Nemesis system, because then you can have factions. You can have the Joker faction in Gotham. Yeah. You can have the the faction that all follow Lex Luthor, or all these different.
Huh. I suppose with the likes of Shadow of War, when you can brand an orc, I suppose they may use, because her lasso is the lasso of truth, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they may have that as it just entwines an enemy, but then the effects of it stay after it's worn off. Yeah. So then they're on your team, maybe with that nemesis system. I wonder if they'll do it like that, or it'll just be an aggressive nemesis system where you essentially just keep coming across enemies who will remember you every time that you've done it. You don't really get any on your team like you do in Shadow of War. It'll be interesting to see, but currently it's a very quick teaser trailer of just.
Or if you're doing a whole like getting people back on your side, it could be that all the heroes have gone doolally.
Do like a Suicide
Squad. Someone else's control, and you've got to go and use the fucking lasso of truth to pull them all out of it, and eventually you can get Batman on your side and Superman on your side, and
that would be pretty awesome, actually.
And then you got to go fight the big boss with a bunch of superheroes on your side or whatever.
Oh, that could be pretty cool. And depending on who you take, it changes the outcome of the Nemesis thing.
Obviously, it kind of takes away a little bit from Wonder Woman, but if she's the central focus of the game, I don't think that would be too much of a problem. If like you're spending all the time with her anyway, and like learning more about her than any of the other characters anyway, I don't see why you couldn't.
You just have one battle.
Other DC characters and have that as part of your storyline.
That'd be pretty cool.
Because they've done that millions of times. There's so many Flash stories where he's got to go and talk to other superheroes and stuff. It's like, it's not about sharing the limelight. It's about the fact that if you've got these superheroes and you use them,
you might as well use them.
Don't waste it.
Yeah. Oh God, you've got Batman standing over there. Bring him in, please.
Yeah. Don't waste Batman. You've got Batman.
Yeah, because DC is involved, so I suppose they can just use any hero, any villain they want, I suppose.
And that would be a really good way of using the Nemesis system to essentially get people back on your side, like if they've been brainwashed by Brainiac or something.
It could also be the different universes. It could be the different universes. So
different universes of Wonder Woman.
So then you have like the Batman where Batman's dad becomes Batman, and then
Flashpoint.
Yeah, and just different Batmans are in different places, so you can travel to different worlds instead of having just different factions and cities. There's all sorts of possibilities. It as I say, currently it's just a little teaser trailer of her whipping the thing.
The thing that confuses me is, like you say, how they're going to utilizing them, because that does open up so many possibilities. Like, how are you going to do this storyline? Are you going to have like these characters? It's going to be done this way. Oh God, it's quite an interesting concept. It's more not so much interesting. It's more. I'm just like, how's that going to work?
Which usually, when I think that about games, they usually kind of like pull it off in a way that I wouldn't have thought of. Yeah. Surprised me. It surprised me.
Otherwise, it's just an obvious kind of game, and you go, I can see that.
Yeah, I get that.
Otherwise, it's like, and then it's the other ones where it's like, what?
Now I'm literally just imagining like Joker coming back with like a scar on his face and asking where Superman is this time because you didn't bring him and stuff like that. Yeah, that sounds like it'd be really interesting, and I'd love to play a good Wonder Woman game. That would be fucking sick. There's a few more. There's Forspoken, which looked like an interesting magic game where at some point it looked like she was flying on a piece of ice across a city, but that looks like a good one. Slit Ahead, which looks like a Japanese horror game that looks like,
I think I saw this.
It looks like the city version of Dead Space, which I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but Japanese games scare me for their sheer scale.
Scary in general.
They scare me for their sheer scale.
Ghostwire Tokyo on that list.
I think that's coming out very soon.
It's coming out very soon. That's one I really want to see.
I watched some gameplay of it and it didn't excite me as much as the trailer did.
Okay, I haven't got to any gameplay yet. I've seen like B-roll, like the stuff that they like pump out to like gain interest, but I haven't seen any gameplay.
Granted, I only watched it once, so we'll watch it. We'll watch it after we finish up here, as well as
I might wait to see if Alana
the poo run. I think Alana may have done a video on. I think that might be what I watched.
She's looking forward to it, so I might. Oh, okay.
I think I watched her watch it. I think I watched her watch it, and so Alana Pierce, if anyone's interested, who's a very good games journalist, or well, she was a games journalist.
Yeah, she's still in a personal time kind of a games journalist, especially with her Play Watch Listen series and several others. I mean, yeah, it's weird. Like she's also got like the Access Awards that she's running herself.
Oh yes. Very
disabled gamers.
She's very deep into the gaming culture and just really smart when it comes to games. Way more than I will ever be.
And always has like interesting friends. Like whenever she's got someone on to talk to, like on the podcast and stuff, it's always like, oh, it's a developer, and I had no idea who this was. Like she through Play Watch Listen introduced me to Austin Wintory, who I sit and just listen to his music now on Spotify and stuff. He was the composer of Journey, which is one of my favourite games of all time.
What a beautiful soundtrack. What a beautiful game.
Yeah, like one of my favourite games of all time. And I had no idea who he was until this podcast. And now I listen to it every week just to listen to like his input, because he's also got a podcast called... what's it called?
Journey?
I think it's like Listen to This or something. It's him talking to Troy Baker again. He's on another podcast. But
Troy Baker's everywhere.
Troy Baker's like he's also a musician though in his spare time, so like he understands like a lot of stuff, and they basically break down movie like soundtracks and break down like, so he took the guy who did the Avengers music and went through all his previous movies, and like literally like there's parts from his previous movie soundtracks where it's like, okay, he literally lifted that and put it into the Avengers.
That's cool.
Kind of thing. Like I think it's the same guy who did the Back to the Future music who did the Avengers. I'd have to look at that.
A very coveted resume, it sounds.
Yeah. The people, Austin Wintory, Troy Baker, Alana Pierce, all very good people to listen to in the dev community.
Yes. And the last one that I have from just like this 40-minute video of just trailers. Oh, there's two more actually. There's that Star Wars Eclipse, which I had a look, and it's supposed to be an action adventure game, which is, I think it's so early in development that they're not giving away anything. There's just a cinematic trailer of just some generic Star Wars stuff.
I'd like a game where you can basically, a bit like a FromSoft game, where you can choose your faction, like start as a Mandalorian, start as a Jedi, start as a trooper, start as...
So I did look at their website. I did look at the website that they have, and it's very basic-ish what it has, but it says create your own Star Wars story.
This is what I'm hoping for, yeah.
So it could be that you could either choose what era you're in, because Yoda was in it. Yoda was in the trailer, just looking out of a window. Nothing, like, didn't do anything. But you may be able to either choose what era you start from. So you could either go to like the prequels, the sequels, or like the way before when the Jedi were just fledgling.
Yeah. Maybe you play a long-standing character that can somehow traverse the eras.
But it would be really cool if you played as you could choose to either play as a Sith or a Jedi at the start of everything when it was just starting out, and you play through, and every time that you do a time skip, you play as the Padawan to either of them. Yeah, you play as like their underling.
So a bit like the Starkiller guy from not Force Awakens.
Yes, that's right.
Force Unleashed.
Is it Force Unleashed? Force Unleashed is the old one, I think.
That's what I mean. So he was like the protege to Vader.
Oh, was he?
So a bit like that, but like...
I thought you were on about the ginger guy from the newer one.
So a bit like that, but you traverse through time playing different...
It would be cool.
Yeah.
It would be interesting. Obviously, we don't know anything about this yet. It's so early in development that we have literally no idea.
Yeah. But interesting though, if they're going in the direction of, because they haven't done like MMORPG since KOTOR, which they're doing a remaster of.
Oh, okay.
That's the Old Republic, which was a game set in like yonder old days.
Okay, yeah. So they could do that. They could do that to bring. Because I think MMOs are a little bit daunting to a lot of people. So to bring it into a single player...
I would assume if it's like create your own story, it's going to be an MMORPG. I assume. Or just an open world RPG.
Might be.
where it's
An
like,
open world
it
RPG
might be a
would
closed
be
single
good.
player experience. It might be a slightly co-op experience. It might be a fully online experience.
A co-op experience where you could either be a Jedi, Sith, or like you could just be a bounty hunter
I
or
want a
anything.
game where you could basically be anyone, where you can basically like, I want to be so like just a regular bounty hunter, or I want to be a Mandalorian from Mandalore. I want to be like an original Mandalorian, or just like a Mandalorian out in the world, or I want to be an apprentice Sith or an apprentice Jedi, or I want to be
a slave trader, any person.
No. I want to be a Rancor.
You don't want to be the guy from the prequels.
I want to be a Rancor on Tatooine.
I just want to be a weird horse thing from some random planet that we've never been to.
I just want to be.
I want to be a plant.
I want to be the background for someone else's game. I want to be a pod racer.
Whoa, that's what I call pod race.
Oh, I want to be a pilot, and then you spend more time in space than you do on planet. And
That would be pretty. Yeah, to be able to. I suppose if you are going to go that way, it does lean more to the MMORPG rather than a single player experience. But I suppose we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
My last one is a game called Nightingale, which I've saved for last because you may be interested in this.
I haven't heard of this.
It looks like a game that has a mix between Rust, because it looks like you can build towns, you can build like houses and stuff.
Yeah.
What's it called? Hunt the Showdown.
Yeah.
For the setting, because it looks like it's sort of more of an Old West. It looks like it's sort of a more Old West with mythical or magic
Yeah.
sort of setting, mixed with Monster Hunter, because it looks like I don't know if it's every now and again or it's just constant, but you'll have giant enemies attacking you, and you'll have giant enemies coming after you. But it looks like there's a lot of manual pistols, a lot of manual blunt weapons, sharp weapons, stuff like that. Very Hunt the Showdown
kind of feel to it.
Feel to it, but minus the whole being so dark. I think it's
It's a lighter, it looks like a lighter experience, but still set in the same sort of area
Yeah.
of expertise, shall I say. But it looks interesting. Again, that one's sort of, you get like flashes of gameplay in between a cinematic, so it's hard to really gauge what it is, but it looks interesting. And I'll show you some of these trailers once we're finished up here.
Cool, yeah.
But that's all I've pretty much got for gameplay wise. Apart from I did see some gameplay of the new GTA 5 on the new consoles.
Yeah, it looks like GTA.
It looks exactly the same, but I saw like some ray tracing on one of the tables in the rich guy's house, and it looked good.
It looked really
You know,
nice.
if you've never played a GTA 5 before and you've got the new console, why not?
Perfect time to start the experience.
Yeah, why not? 60 FPS, it must be nice. That's the one caveat that I always forget with the new consoles, that you can play it at 60 FPS, and I'm like, yeah, no, that must be nice.
That would have been nice first time round.
Yeah, that must be nice. But that is pretty much all I've got noted down for gaming as we go.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've seen anything else in the way of trailers or anything.
I don't think I've seen anything of note other than those. Obviously, we've got the New Horizon game coming out, it's
Oh no! I know which
Zero.
one. Yeah,
Is it Zero Dawn?
Out?
Is Zero Dawn the one that's already out? It may already be out,
I think the new one's already out. Yeah,
because that's a true
I've heard
next
good
gen
things.
game.
I've heard a lot of people whinging about it for a while, but
You're going to hear
lot.
people whinge about every single game ever created.
I've heard a lot of good things about it. Apparently, it's another success for Sony. So
Yeah, which Sony are just winning on all fronts at the minute. Apart from Game Pass, Game Pass is really good.
When was Spider-Man 2? Isn't it like 2023?
Spider-Man 2's, I think it might be this year.
I think it's 2023 actually. I think it is next year.
Oh, if it's next year, then yeah. Then they've got God of War coming out this year.
Because they've got Wolverine coming out in like 2024 or 5, I think. Maybe
So
2025.
They've got a little bit lined up then. That's Insomniac as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So like, I think Spider-Man's much further along than Wolverine, which is why I think, I don't think it's this year. I could be wrong. Am I wrong?
Let me Google it. You keep talking about Spider-Man. Keep talking about Spider-Man things. What does he do in his spare time? He builds
I
trips.
watched No Way Home again the other night. It's fucking still a good movie.
Spider-Man 2.
2 months later.
No Way Home's pretty good. Again, there was spoilers, I suppose, for No Way Home. It's been out for a little bit, so skip ahead a little bit. The only part that I found bad about that movie is when they initially started to bring in the other Spider-Mans.
Yeah.
And it was a little fan pandery, and it was just a little cringe, especially when Aunt May dies and she was like,
with great power comes great. You could have said this before. You could have said this in the flat when you've got all the bad guys
the curse, though. When they say that, it means they're gonna die. Basically.
Yeah. But it was like, I knew you were gonna die without you saying that. You literally just got exploded into pieces. I don't know how you didn't die from the impact before this, but yeah, sure. But I think she probably should have said it in the.
I liked it when
flat.
I liked it when Peter came. Peter, fucking hell! I liked it when Toby came through, and he was just like, "I came through. I hope it's like, oh, it's gone now."
Yeah. Honestly, that was my only gripe with the movie. The rest of it was fucking sick. So take that as you will. I'm still looking for this. 2023. You are right.
Okay.
2023 for
I
the
think maybe
Spider-Man.
it was slated for 2022 at some point, but
It may have got pushed back with the whole no one having a console. But you've got God of War coming out this year, which I think now will be on. I suppose it's last gen. I keep forgetting it's last gen and not current gen.
I don't think is Spider-Man 2. I don't think Spider-Man 2 is coming to last gen.
I think Spider-Man 2 will be a PS5, but I'm thinking they're probably hoping they'll be able to get the production.
It's even worse at the moment, the shortage.
Maybe not then.
And with Ukraine down, where they get a lot of
That's true.
neon and stuff, expecting any more consoles to be a bit further delay. So I think
It could come to last gen then.
It could be next gen only. And I wouldn't say that would be the worst thing in the world. There's still quite a lot of PS5s out there, but at the same time, if you want it to make the same amount of money as the last Spider-Man game that came out, you're going to need to do last gen as well, because there are still so many people who, even if there's not like a problem with like scalpers in your country, there's still a shortage of these chips, which means there's a shortage of not only consoles, shortage of phones, shortage of everything, shortage of computers, there's a shortage of everything because of the current natural resources getting held up and the shipping issues. But after the shipping issues with Ukraine, which is a massive, and Russia being two massive mineral exporters, chip shortages now. Don't expect like loads of new PS5s to be made this year. Yeah. And I don't mean that as just PS5. Don't expect loads of new Xboxes to be made. Don't expect new Switches. Don't expect new anything. Just
don't expect it and be pleasantly surprised when it happens.
You may
eventually.
have to deal with what you've got for a bit longer.
Which, the PS4 is still standing. Yeah. It's still standing pretty strong.
The only thing that worries me is that my PS4 is going to die, and I'm like, quick, get a new PS4 before you can't even get those.
Yeah. No, I've had to go back to PS3. Come on, release Spider-Man 2 on PS3.
I need Elden Ring on PS3.
Which, I mean, back gen.
I'm back to my PS1. Someone, Elden Ring, please.
I'm pretty sure that's it for me. I've been watching wise. I've been going a little nostalgic, and I started watching the Berserk series, the Berserk anime series. Yeah. Mainly because, and let me get his name up so I do not butcher it. His name is Kentaro Miura, the mangaka who I think that's how you say it. The author, essentially, of the manga series died recently. Oh. And it popped back up on my radar, and I thought I'd give it a try. I'm about six episodes in, and watching old school 1997 anime is I think it's such a nice experience.
Berserker, possibly. I'm not sure. I'll need to look at that.
Just some of the panels in the manga.
I know there's been new ones since.
There's a 2016 version, which I've seen a few clips from, where he's walking through a forest and it's 3D modeled and it looks fucking awful. Yeah. On some of them. Because
I remember seeing something new coming for it, and I was like, haven't I seen that? And it was like, no, it's new series. Okay.
It may be. Oh, it could be. It could be getting a new series. I haven't been a fan at all of it until literally yesterday I started watching it, and watching old school anime is fucking beautiful, and I'm hoping that the author or the team around the author have some sort of insight on whether it will be continued or not, because some of the manga panels, like, he was a fantastic artist. Yeah, some of the manga panels were fucking ridiculous. I didn't understand what was going on at all in them. But just the sheer detail, just for one panel of a manga, it was ridiculous. So I gave it a little watch, and it's really fun. It's six episodes in now, and I'm starting to get out of the backstory section of it now, and starting to get into more of the fighting beasts and stuff like that, which looks interesting. Nice. And I watched a movie
not long ago called Kimmy, and it's about this software developer who overhears something on essentially that universe's version of Alexa.
Yeah.
And they overhear something a little devious over the Alexa, and I wouldn't mention it because it was an okay film. It was about 6 or 7. You know, it was it kept me gripped for the hour and a half, but it wasn't anything really to write home about. It was just sort of interesting because they'd actually made coronavirus canon, and she was struggling to go outside. Yeah. At one point, she had a panic attack when she was just going to go outside and get breakfast, and it really
resonated with you.
Well, it resonated with me with the fact that this is probably one of the only scenes in probably a movie where 90% of the planet would probably understand it.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're privileged enough, like we were, to self-isolate alone in our own places, you'd probably understand the anxiety of going out for the first time after the whole pandemic, and it was just a weird sensation to watch this.
In an anime.
Yeah, no, it was live action.
Oh, it was live action.
It was an indie movie. I didn't think it was, but it was an indie movie. It had like a budget of like 3.6 mil. There was no major like CGI or anything like that involved or anything, but it was a fun hour and a half watch. I'd recommend it if you got an hour and a half to kill and you want to watch something that's
what was it called?
Kimmy.
Kimmy.
Kimi. It's a thriller essentially.
Yeah.
And it was good. It wasn't anything to write home about, but it was just a weird thing to watch coronavirus be canon in a universe, because I always wondered.
You're probably going to see more of that now.
Hopefully.
Things that went into production during COVID and
yeah. You noticed it when you watched some of the soaps on TV. Like I'd go to my nan's house and I'd watch like East Emmerdale or something, and people would be on the opposite sides of rooms, and you wouldn't notice it unless you thought about it.
Yeah.
But there'd be characters who, like, in that scene, you would have expected them to hug each other, but they just like
high five each other from afar.
They just went, okay, bye, and just waved and stuff like that. It was like, okay, yeah, I see where you're trying to get away with it. How about yourself, though? Do you watch anything interesting lately? Not that you have to.
Have I?
I know that you've been watching Boba Fett.
I watched Boba. Really good ending.
Which I have not watched, so don't worry, guys, no spoilers.
Really slow start.
Okay.
Slow to get into. You have to get to like episode. You know when it's like people are like, you gotta get to episode 2 or 3, and like, episode 5 you gotta get to.
It's like, fuck.
It's a bit of a slug.
Yeah.
Slog.
It's a bit of a slog. He is an older man, though.
It's totally worth it.
He is an older man.
Yeah.
So,
and without spoiling anything, like there is a continuation to The Mandalorian in this series.
So it's beneficial to watch it.
So if you're going to be watching the next series of Mandalorian, you will need to watch Boba Fett too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really cool. Really good ending to that series. I really enjoyed it. Some people had gripes. I had a small gripe. There's a certain character they introduced, really cool fucking character who's apparently from like the cartoons and stuff.
Okay.
And just aesthetically, and his voice is just amazing. And then they may have just like wasted him in this series. We don't know. It's left open to interpretation.
Unless you see the corpse.
It's one of those situations where it's like, is he? No, he's not. Or is he? No, he's not. Is he?
So if you're watching Boba Fett and you see somebody who has an amazing voice, know that you'll be disappointed.
That ended well. I'm sure I've missed a Marvel show. Has there been a Marvel show? I've missed Hawkeye.
I've missed Hawkeye as well, actually.
And apparently that's got some stuff in it for the rest of the. We'll see.
Okay, might have to watch that.
It. I've watched all the others. It would be a shame not to watch it.
I wonder if it's going to be better than Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because that's the weakest one thus far.
Yeah. As much as I enjoyed Falcon, like I really enjoyed like the penultimate episode and the final episode.
I enjoyed their dynamic, but for what it was sort of.
I enjoyed where it got to. I was like, couldn't this have been the whole series?
Yes, instead of just we're punchy heroes again.
Yeah, it's like we've got to do new origin story 2.0.
Yeah.
I saw their origins in the other movies.
Yeah, once it ended, I was like, brilliant. The next episode,
yes, no. And now the episode where he's actually no.
Yes,
okay.
no. Oh God, no. But
That'd
we've
be too much budget.
we've got Miss Marvel coming up as well.
Yeah.
Which is a movie. Looks interesting.
Which I saw the trailer for. They've replaced her powers.
Oh, have they?
Kamala Harris has like big stretchy like moves, like
Kamala Harris?
What's her name?
I don't know if Kamala Harris has big stretchy arms.
Yes, she has.
Although Biden
No,
would
she
be.
totally does. But what's the character's name? Kamala Khan.
I could not tell you.
I think it's Kamala Khan, possibly.
I would love to see Kamala Harris play this role. Though.
No, she's got like she's got like Reed Richards' powers from Fantastic Four.
Right. Okay.
But in this, her powers, she's still got like big like powers, but it's like Green Lantern, the like energy moves.
Is it the same character who was in the Marvel Avengers video game?
Yes, she's the mate. She was like that.
Right.
First character.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So they have changed the powers then.
Yeah. So she's got like energy stretching and stuff. It looks like she has an ability from one of the Infinity Stones, the purple one. Whatever that is.
Right. The Reality Stone, I think.
Yeah, because she can kind of like warp her. She can still like make like big fists and stuff, but it's energy powers. So a lot of people are like, that's probably because they're going to be bringing in another stretchy character soon, and they don't want to.
Oh no, we don't want two stretchies.
And you don't want two stretchy characters who have the same powers. So even though we've got like Rambo and Marvel who have the same powers,
yeah,
already it's like there's plenty of.
And you've also got Drax who just stabbed things and just
there's
says
plenty
very
of characters
introspective
with the
shit.
same powers. We've just seen 3 Spider-Men.
Yeah, literally in the same area.
It's fine if you have 2 people with. I would have been more happy if they'd have stuck with that. Even though I'm not deeply invested, it's like just stick. Like so far, you have stuck so close to canon with the series. Why are you changing the powers?
It could be a case of.
It might be a case of like this is her temporary like, and then eventually like
it
she
molds
gets her
with
full
her.
power. I don't know.
Maybe.
Don't know.
We'll have to wait to see. We'll have to wait and see for whenever that comes out. But it looks interesting. And
it may be that she got these powers later on in the comic book and they've just fast forwarded and they're just skipping the part where she was just stretchy. I don't know. I don't know enough about the character.
Neither do I, but I'll be interested to see. And I think is that it for you?
That's it,
I think that is it for us. It's good.
Putin.
It's good to be back. We won't tell you when the next episode's coming because we don't know. Hopefully soon. Though.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon.
Life's a slog at the moment. We're getting there.
Life is going quick, and I'm going quick as well.
Gotta go fast.
I gotta go fast, as we did on one of our previous streams, which you should definitely check out. All links and shit are in the description.
Check out that Sonic Hospital stream.
Yes, where we created hospitals that just all completely encompassed with Sonic things, and everyone was healed, and it was a good day. No one died. Ignore that. Ignore the reports. Thank you so much for listening, guys. We hope wherever you are safe. We say no more war, please. And thank you so much.
Lads.
Thank you. Goodbye.